This is my student support system. Keep watching, keep learning.
Now, ventricles of the brain. The brain ventricles are four irregular shaped hollow cavities containing cerebrospinal fluid. These are four in number: right and left lateral ventricles, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle. Right and left ventricle, lateral ventricle. These cavities lies within the cerebral hemispheres, one on each side of the median line just below corpus callosum. They are separated from each other by a thin membrane known as septum lucidum and are lined with ciliated epithelium. The third ventricle is a narrow cavity along the midline superior to the hypothalamus and between right and left halves of the thalamus. It communicates with the fourth ventricle by a canal known as cerebral aqueduct. Fourth ventricle. Fourth ventricle is a diamond-shaped cavity situated below and behind the third ventricle between cerebellum and pons. It is continuous with the central canal of spinal cord and communicate with subarachnoid space by foramina on its roof. Cerebrospinal fluid enters the subarachnoid space through these openings. Here you can understand these are the lateral ventricles, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle. And this is cerebral central canal in the spinal cord, which is continuous with the spinal cord. What is CSF? Cerebrospinal fluid is secreted into each ventricle of the brain by choroid plexus. These are vascular areas where there is a proliferation of blood vessels surrounded by ependymal cells in the lining of ventricle wall. CSF passes back into the blood through tiny diverticula of arachnoid matter called arachnoid villi, which project into the venous sinuses. CSF is secreted continuously at a rate of about 0.5 ml per minute, means 720 ml per day, but the volume remains fairly constant at about 150 ml around the brain and spinal cord as the absorption keep pace with the secretion, means the absorption and secretion continuously takes place at same rate. CSF pressure may be measured using a vertical tube attached to a lumbar puncture needle inserted into the subarachnoid space above the fourth lumbar vertebra and below third lumbar vertebra. Normal CSF pressure is 10 to 30 mm of water. What are the functions of CSF? One is mechanical protection. The CSF serves as shock absorbing medium that protects the delicate structure of brain and spinal cord from the jolts that would otherwise cause them injury to hit the bony walls of the cranial cavity and vertebral canal. So it protects physical injuries to the brain and spinal cord. Second is chemical protection. The CSF provide optimal chemical environment for accurate neuronal signaling. Even slight change in the ionic composition of the CSF within the brain can seriously disrupt the production of action potential and postsynaptic potential and the transfer of nerve impulses. Third is continuous circulation and providing nutrition to the brain. CSF continuously circulate and allow exchange of nutrients and waste products between blood and the nervous tissue.
My student support system. Keep watching, keep learning.